So I was talking to a buddy of mine about his favorite online internet horror, creepypastas, and the main one that he brought up was the Backrooms. The whole lore began in 2019 on 4chan. It is heavily associated with liminal spaces like these photos. It has raised a lot of curiosity because the only way to get here is to no clip. Obviously this is all fictional, but still it's cool to look into. I know a little bit about the Backrooms, but for this video I decided to follow this Iceberg, starting off tamed in our first tier talking about things like aging in the Backrooms, all the way down to tier 5 where we talk about things like government documents that were supposedly found there. If you're left with even more questions like I was after researching for this video, make sure to subscribe so you see more videos like this where I'll tackle more topics similar. Also follow the Patreon to help me out, but enough of that. Let's get into the Iceberg. Tier 1. In this tier we'll be talking about things like level 9, aging in the Backrooms, and the front rooms. So first, aging in the Backrooms. Aging here is a complex phenomenon, nothing like in real life, or like the front rooms, but I'll get to that. While there's no official way of aging, the most favored one by the community is that after the age of 20, you start aging, but slower. While you can still age and get older, it's believed that in the Backrooms, you cannot die from old age like regularly. This makes it so that wanderers experience longer lifespans, but probably not, because have you seen the monsters? Level 9, the suburbs. Level 9 is reminiscent to like one of those neighborhoods of like all the cookie cutter houses, except it just goes on forever. It goes like this in all directions, so you have nowhere to go except to the same place. Very similar to the movie like Vivarium, where they get stuck in the same neighborhood, but it's all the same houses. This plays on the uncanny valley effect, where something is so familiar, but they just twist it enough to make it seem like something unsettling. So it's almost that familiar thing that you know, but it's slightly off and it just gives you a weird uneasy feeling. The front rooms. The front rooms is considered to be the counterpart of the Backrooms. It's often defined as the normal or pleasant version of that reality. It plays on the idea that the Backrooms is like a nightmarish realm, while the other one, which is probably our world, or maybe not, our world might be more dangerous. Do they have fentanyl in the Backroom? So ours would probably be the counterpart, since it's probably more calm and doesn't have this guy from the Cane Pixels animation. Expired almond water. If you know anything about the Backrooms, you know that the main form of consumption or drink or nutrients is almond water. Almond water is known for its ability to sustain wanderers in the Backrooms, but if you consume it when it's expired, it can become dangerous. It can give you hallucinations. You can see things that aren't really there, like you can see entities, but they're not really there, and then you can turn around and there's actually an entity there now. So wanderers have to be very careful on what they consume. They need to watch expiration dates. Actually, we don't know if there's actual expiration dates or if it just expires and we don't know. Baselings are an enigmatic... What does that word mean? Mysterious? Yes. Okay, that makes sense. This is one of the more commonly encountered monsters in the Backrooms. They appear as human-like figures without faces. Facial features. They often behave in an unsettling and unpredictable way. Similar to the other things we've talked about so far, it plays into the uncanny role in the Backrooms of multiple things here, serving as a constant reminder of the alternate reality that we are currently in. Chairs no clipping. Like I said earlier, the only way to get in here is no clipping, and a very familiar thing in like games or videos that we see of the Backrooms are of chairs no clipping into it. The term no clipping means phasing through reality. I feel like this plays on the sudden fear of losing grip on reality, even in such like a normal situation as sitting in a chair. The Backrooms is very large, and to our interpretation, it's endless. So it's only normal that you will see abandoned bases. Abandoned bases are locations that were once occupied by groups of people that built them, but have long been deserted. These areas often contain valuable resources like almond water, flashlights, batteries, things like that. They're also normally found containing clues to help new travelers, which is obviously all fictional, but it adds to the fact of being able to build onto your own storyline of the Backrooms. Count how many times I say Backrooms in this video, because I feel like I'm going to say it a million more. Ambient noise. In level 0, we see this yellow carpet, yellow wallpaper, all gross, and then the most common thing that we've heard about it is the buzz of a fluorescent light above you. People often describe other things like distant echoes, unexplained noises like screams, which are kind of explained, or otherworldly things that we just cannot explain. Something else we can't explain is Wi-Fi in the Backrooms. In certain interpretations, there are locations that have Wi-Fi in the Backrooms, but a lot of them don't even dive into the fact of that, because when you're in the Backrooms, you're not focusing on texting or seeing the new latest Instagram post. You're trying to get out. But in the interpretations with this, these areas are often sought after by wanderers trying to get connection to reality. It's just a fun juxtaposition between being in this alternate world where you think everything is different from what you really have, to being able to find Wi-Fi, which is something that you've already had and lived with. Something cool to consider are places that are worse than the Backrooms. People have said online and thought about this online that there might be places worse than the Backrooms, like a further level, like a negative level. That'll be in a further tier. This could include different, more dangerous, more crazy, unpredictable levels than there already are. The Backrooms is said to be a completely different dimension, so it's not crazy to say this at all. Now that was the end of tier 1. For this next one, we're gonna be moving on to tier 2. We're gonna be diving a little bit deeper, but not too much. We'll be going over things like level 890, thing on level 7, and Acromotopsia.avi. We'll talk about it when we get there. Let's get into level 890. Level 890 is known as Happy World. It is an enigmatic and potentially dangerous location that's disguised like an amusement park. It's an endless amusement park, but that's deceptive. It has that cheerful, happy look to cover up what's actually beneath it. People say that the level is perpetually daytime and doesn't have a day-night cycle. It's just always daytime. And then sporadically, randomly, at random times, it'll have a wave of a fog just fall onto it. It has an unusual electromagnetic response that disrupts any device within its range. It's filled with things like carnival booths, amusement park rides, and generic fantasy characters. So like I said, it has electromagnetic anomalies. So when you enter Wi-Fi, cell reception, all of that is non-existent. It has a spatial anomaly, which is what makes it like vast. It makes it seem like it's never ending. So it's hard to find an ending. And it's hard to tell if there even actually isn't an ending. It has one entity that I know of. It's highly dangerous and it's called the Restatic. It's a malevolent being that's in the fog, roams the entire level in search of prey, appears human-like, but the description kind of varies from wanderer to wanderer, and is said to be avoided at all costs. So I'm guessing it's not trying to hug you, or if it is trying to hug you, it's in like an EDP kind of way, so run. As someone approaches the Restatic, the level becomes increasingly perilous. Online it said some safety conditions that you should follow are: avoid the Restatic. Electronic communication is impossible, so don't even try it. Don't waste your time. It'll just slow you down. And then when the fog has fallen, navigation is incredibly hindered, so you might want to just hide in a booth. Something like that is crazy and unique, which brings me to our next one. Achromatopsia avi. I looked up the video, but honestly, I don't even know if it was the correct one. It was someone running through these dark, distorted halls that looks like when your Fortnite map isn't fully loaded in, is the best way I can kind of explain it. I looked it up. Achromatopsia, or if I'm saying that right, is a vision disorder affecting the way you perceive colors. So this is actually a pretty accurate description. It might be the right video because all they're seeing is in black and white. So maybe it's like a severe form of color blindness. I'm not really sure. And it also affects vision quality. Yeah, so that makes sense. So that's why it's all distorted and weird. I'm guessing that this video is assuming that there's some level that mimics this condition that people have, causing them to not be able to see correctly and causing loss of vision. Something that I'm wondering, and I don't want to insinuate because I'm not sure, if this is a level, how do you escape the level? What are the entities on the level? I don't know, that one's kind of confusing and weird, just like the thing on level 7. The thing on level 7 is notorious. Level 7 is described as a large, vast ocean that stretches infinitely in all directions. The thing on level 7 is also known as Entity 20. It lurks in the deep waters of level 7. It's described as a giant eel monster with a mouth capable of swallowing an entire building. It's said to be approximately 11,000 feet long, is extremely aggressive and hostile towards humans. It's said to inhabit the Midnight Zone and Upper Abyss in level 7. It's an omnivore, but with the specific hatred for humans, and especially those that have knowledge on it. So don't go to level 7 or you're gonna die. You're welcome. It will relentlessly target you until you're out of sight. It is said that you should limit ocean exploration and use the entrance room as a place of home. You should avoid making loud noises, as it can detect you from miles away. That brings me to our next one, the first person to enter the Backrooms. We have no idea who it is. This was an originated creepypasta online lore sort of thing back in 2019, like I said, on 4chan. There's no definitive on who was the first person to actually enter it, but we have videos from people like Kane Pixels and other prominent creators where we could say that their characters are the first ones to be there. We could very well say that the person that originated the idea on 4chan could be the first person that went there. But it's all based off of whatever narrative you really want to follow with the storyline. Bringing me to assorted camps. Earlier we talked about abandoned camps and areas. This is some groups that create camps in the Backrooms. The MEG, or the MEG, the level 6 access outpost. It's located at one of the exits of the snack rooms, which is the sub-level 6.1. We'll get into that later. That should be in a further tier. It's used for research and things like that. It has restricted access with multiple armed guards guarding it at all times. The snack room staff. This is a staff with 43 plus members working in level 6.1. They operate restaurants and bars within the level. They work at assisting facelings in their jobs, which is one of the entities we talked about in tier 1. Malt Town on level 10. It's described as a town that looks like it's from like 1985. It's home to a collection of multiple Backrooms explorers. It's protected by members of the Backrooms non-aligned trade group. And then we have other ones like Settlement along 9th Road, Camp Amber, level 6.1 outpost, level 10 resource station. You can look at those yourself, but I'm going to move on to the next thing, which is entering beyond level 2. I couldn't find really exact things on this, but if you enter past level 2, level 0 is kind of dangerous. Level 1's alright, but level 2 is where it actually starts to get complex and confusing and can be very dangerous for you to join right on. Or not join, it's not a video game, my bad. Yeah, there's just harsher conditions, deadlier entities. The further you go, the harder it gets, or the lower you go if you go into negative levels. I don't know, maybe negative levels are a thing. You'll find out if you keep watching. Reality becomes more warped the more you explore, so the further you start, you don't have that ground footing where you got to start on level 0. But this might be a good thing if earlier on you want rare resources and artifacts, knowledge about the nature of the backrooms, and possible routes to escape. But at the same time, if you look into it from different perspectives, like all of this is all created by different people, there's certain games where like in level 0, it gives you a bunch of information, gives you a lot of easier stuff, and the further you go, it's harder. The puzzles get harder. So it's a good rule of thumb that you want to start on level 0. Next, we'll be talking about negative levels, which I've talked about a little bit on here and I just talked about a second ago. Negative levels are known for their surreal environments, unpredictable nature, which is a lot like the normal backrooms, but it's just on another level, or a lower level if you want to say that. I'm going to talk about some notable ones. Level -0, also known as untextured. This level is known for its disjointed architecture. The survival difficulty is classified as unknown due to the limited exploration and documentation, just like a lot of these other negative levels. Individuals on level -0 are known to be in there for about 14 minutes before being transported to a whole nother level. A list of some other ones are level -1, which is grayscale halls, level -2 overflow, not that one, level -3 multicolor mania, level -4 shattered forest, level -5 snowscape, level -6 wooden tower, level -7 the cruel town, and so on and so forth. Level -7 the cruel town, and so on and so forth. We have info on negative levels up till level -99. Like I said, there's limited documentation on these kinds of levels. It's a dangerous environment compared to the other ones because they're a lot less explored. And then these negative levels are more associated with anomalies, or crazier anomalies at that. This furthers my curiosity, making me think of something also like the true population of the backrooms. It's not specifically said the amount of people that are actually there, but there's multiple sources saying different things, and I'll go over those. It's said by fans that different levels host different amounts of entities and players, like the hospital level. That one's said to hold up to 100 people, but for level 0, from multiple interpretations, it can only hold people that have actually no-clipped there one at a time from what we've seen. Unless you see like the King Pixel videos where those are like scientists, but they got there by opening a whole black hole into it, and I don't know about all that stuff. Speaking of creators in this, Mr. Ferrante, I don't know if that's how you say it, but Mr. Ferrante is a prominent creator in the Backrooms community. He's made a lot of videos on the creepypasta surrounding the Backrooms. I haven't looked into him personally, but it was on the Iceberg, so I thought I'd include it anyways. He had a YouTube series covering things like level 0, the lobby, level 1, lurking danger. It provided insight on how to survive or have ideas of how to survive the backrooms, making him a pretty big key figure in the backrooms community, so I thought it was good to include him, even if I don't know much about him, but he was on this Iceberg, so I thought it'd be good anyways. Bringing up something else that I don't know much about, but I still looked into, the edge of level 0. It is said to have a non-linear layout. It's not a distinct boundary. It's a non-linear space that defines level 0. For example, one can walk in one straight line and end up at the starting point that they try to go from. For ways to tell that you're at the edge of level 0 is that wallpapers and lights start to change colors, but that can also be a sign that you're approaching entities. So it's kind of confusing because it's a mix of different storytellings. Pitch black hallways can be a sign of danger or be telling you that you're in proximity of the edge of level 0. We've been talking about entities a lot, so I wanted to talk about their weaknesses. Before we talk about their weaknesses, we should talk about the classifications of each one. Class 0, no threat, mortality rate less than 0. Class 1, minor threat, mortality rate above 10 but less than 20. Class 2 is moderate threat, mortality rate is between 20 to 35. Class 3, aggressive but not highly dangerous, mortality rate is between 35% and 50%. Class 4, aggressive, mortality rate between 50 and 65. Class 5, dangerous, mortality rate between 65 and 75. Class 6, extremely dangerous, mortality rate between 75 and 90. Class 7 is mythological entities with a mortality rate above 90. So if you're in the backrooms, don't try to hug them. They're not your friend. We're going to talk about some of the entities and their weaknesses. So we're going to start with entity 0, the shapeshifter. It's vulnerable to mental fortitude, so that means if you have a good mindset, you're going to make it through everything until you get to the smiler. The weaknesses are avoid eye contact and remain quiet to prevent attacking. These aren't weaknesses, these are just tips and tricks, 5-minute crafts. A weakness would be something to help you defeat it. These aren't really helping. Like with Entity 10, Skin Stealers, they can be identified by their unnatural movement. That's not telling me how to defeat them. That's telling me how to run away from them. And then I thought it'd be fun to bring up some of the weakest entities, because we're talking about how to defeat some of them. Puffers are known for their frail limbs, they're docile, and they pose minimal threat to any wanderers that see them. And then dolls, which are Entity 50, they can induce fear, but they're not inherently dangerous or aggressive towards people. Now we're going to be talking about the Grave. The Grave is a level within the Backrooms. This level is created as a resting place for the souls of wanderers that got lost or just perished. Key features of this are the cosmic landscape, mortuary complex, mysterious machinery, and the access and the exit. But it's not really an exit. The only access is dying and the exit is. It's known to look like just a flat gray plane that's endless under a sky filled with celestial objects. It houses millions of headless corpses. Sorry, trigger warning. I said it too late. It's okay. In regal attire on stone shelves. Now with that, we're going to be moving on to tier 3, which is a little bit lower and a little bit more disturbing than the last two. We're going to be covering things like 3 level zeros, quantum tunneling, and joke levels aren't joke levels. It says something in the Iceberg about 3 level zeros, but I really could not find anything on it. So what I think it's talking about is like the negative level 0 or sub levels of level 0 is kind of what I gathered from that. What I imagine these being are maybe like more dangerous versions, different colored wallpaper, different kinds of lights, making different noises, just something that changes the atmosphere completely, but still giving you that uncanny valley that the original level 0 did. Now we'll be talking about quantum tunneling. This, I didn't know it was going to get in depth like this, but this is exciting. This is a phenomenon in quantum mechanics where particles can pass through barriers that they shouldn't be able to overcome classically. Key things like this include nuclear fusion, scanning, tunneling, microscopes, and microelectronics, but I don't think you guys care about that. You're here for the backrooms, not a science lecture. The connection between quantum tunneling and the backrooms is no clipping. You shouldn't be able to just fall through into another dimension, which is estimated to be what the backrooms is. It's a humorous way to link them together, but still give it like, no clipping makes it sound like a video game. But quantum tunneling, it's just like a way to cover it. I don't know. It's weird, but it's cool. I like it. It's like a good intersection between science fiction quantum mechanics and just normal like internet horror and fun gaming. For our next one, we'll be talking about how joke levels aren't joke levels. We're going to talk about some notable joke levels like level 420, a whimsical level that plays on internet culture. No, we know what it is. It's not just whimsical. The dank rooms, level fridge, and level 100, the washing machine. Level 69, okay, whatever. There's also joke entities like Entity 666, Chicken Man, and then Entity 418 of Coffee and Criminals. I don't even know what this is talking about. I mean, honestly, I could see them actually being real. The snack rooms doesn't sound real, but it's actually associated with a lot of backrooms games, a lot of like internet videos of it. So I could very well see these being put into the internet culture of the backrooms. I mean, it's all fictional, so all of this can happen. This can all really happen, you know what I mean? So since we're done talking about joke things that don't actually exist, let's talk about one that does really exist, level 12. Level 12 is a brightly lit, white painted room with minimal furnishing and a locked door. The area beyond the furniture extends in an infinite white abyss. Any attempts to document or do photography in this room distorted images that wanderers can't capture. But wanderers mention having something mental happen to them and they're imagining things. So maybe the level is just one big entity. What about that theory? Yeah, definitely hasn't been done before. The entrances and exits of the level are: you can enter through a window entity in level 11, which I don't think I want to enter anything that's living. Escape routes include copycat doors leading you to earlier levels from before. Survivor strategies that I found were to sit in the main room for about 15 minutes, attempt to open the locked doors for potential exits, and explore infinite area for alternative routes. And then something that keeps a lot of people curious is, what is the language of the whispers on level 0? You have the buzzing of the fluorescent lights, and then you have random screaming and random noises, and one of those big random noises are the language of people just whispering, saying nonsense. You can hear this in many games, you can hear it in videos. Some key points of these are their indistinct humming and the psychological effect that it has on somebody when they just hear that and nothing else to stimulate them. There is no exact pinpoint to what language it is. I'm guessing for a lot of it, it's English because it's a lot of English creators that I've seen doing it. So they probably just took audios of whispering and then just messed them up and distorted them. Or they didn't because it's real, right? Right? Something else that we can talk about is GPS in the backrooms. Like I said, in certain versions, there are places that have Wi-Fi. And then in some versions, there aren't any places that have Wi-Fi. But that doesn't mean anything because GPS is known to not work at all in the backroom since you're in a completely different dimension anyways. You don't connect to the universal remote don't work like the universal GPS. It ain't gonna work in a different dimension. You're in a different universe now. So basically with GPS in the backrooms, it's not even worth trying because it just can't happen. Next, we're going to be talking about fake levels. These levels are like things that are faking you to think you're escaping, fake safe levels that trick you and end up being really dangerous, similar to the amusement park one. So I'm going to go over some notable ones that we know. Level 601, the false escape. It plays on that escape roll, but it's not... Oh, I just hit my microphone. I'm so sorry. It plays on that scene that like you're about to escape, but you're not, because I don't even know if there's really an actual escape. Or other levels like The End, which is an infinite bookstore with the common noises of a library minus all the people. There's just like the buzzing of computers and same thing, the lights buzzing. You see that as a reoccurring thing in this. You have places like level 1021, false reality, which mimics that you're back in your actual world, but it's not true. The level's not heavily documented, but that's what I got on it so far. In level -399, which is the small replica level. Here, it's like a small replica. I couldn't find what it was a small replicas of. If it was a small replica of the backrooms of real life, but it said that you can run into skin stealers and smilers in this level. Which brings me into a new theory. Death leads to the backrooms. When searching for this info, I didn't see about anything of death leading to the backrooms or being any sort of purgatory or like messed up version of Valhalla. It's like you're just here. I feel like it being a form of purgatory would make more sense. Or an own personal hell if you did something wrong, like William Afton in Ultimate Custom Night. Level 696 is known as the Infinity Scraper. I don't know what that means. I don't want it to scrape me for infinity. That sounds inappropriate and scary. It is a decaying building made of light gray concrete. It has a relatively low class level of class level 1. What makes this level so important is it has an entity that can create new backrooms levels, which is pretty unheard of, and that makes it one of the rarest levels, which is actually pretty cool to have this, which is kind of crazy. It's weird to think that we have crazier things down in the further tiers in this video. Another cool thing about this level, this is my favorite thing we've talked about so far, is how rare it is to get to. You have a 0.0091 chance of getting there, with death in there leading to level 0 or possibly -9,999. Some notable observations of this place are only 7 individuals have made it here, with one of the residents that did go there reporting their findings back to Meg. They randomly went missing after that, adding to the mystery of the backrooms. Now we're going to talk about achromatopsia is connected to periwinkle sand. I'm actually going to skip that one because I have no idea what that is. For our next one, because I'm going to be skipping that because I have no idea what that is. Why do I have headphones? Where did these come from? For our next one we're going to be talking about is the backrooms is just a metaphor. This one would actually make a lot of sense. Some examples of this that people have made online are mental disintegration, representing the cognitive decline of someone's mental, mirroring conditions like Alzheimer's. Some people have also compared it to an existential limbo, symbolizing feelings of confusion and stagnation of life, as shown as it being like going through levels and levels and just cycling through them with no end in sight. The afterlife theory, which I've kind of brought up, like it being some sort of purgatory type thing. People comparing it to a transition of life and death. If you've ever seen Alpha Oxtra, who's a great YouTuber, he talks about how liminal spaces, which is heavily connected to the backrooms, are things that are transitional spaces. I'll put the picture up here. Yes. So that would make sense as this being a transition from your life to afterlife between. Critique of capitalism. I'm not going to get into that one. And then sleep paralysis, which if I had sleep paralysis in the backrooms, I'd cry. It'd be like that one video of Ben of the Week trying to sleep in VR backrooms.
What are you doing?
So those are some theories of what the backrooms could be. Now we're going to go into escaped entities in the backrooms. So if you can actually escape, why can't entities escape too? Or are they like tethered to the realm? I couldn't find any info on this. All I could find were videos of Escape the Backrooms game. That's not what I was looking for, but that's all that popped up. It's a cool thought process and what would happen if that did happen. But sadly, there's no more info on it that I could actually find while searching, so sorry. That's kind of a disappointing note to leave this on, so I'm going to be moving on to Tier 4, which will explore some more deeper topics better explained. We'll be exploring a lot of topics in this one, such as the time zone of the backrooms, connection between the backrooms and Minecraft, and what the doors of level 141 are. Time zone of the backrooms. It's fictional, so there's not exactly an actual time zone. People describe it as a place where time doesn't exist or move, which can be added on to what we talked about in Tier 1 with aging. Aging is severely slowed, so it's just skewed and it's random. It's just depending on story to story. And every level has different lighting, like level 0 just has the fluorescent lights. You don't see any of the outside world unless you get to like the edge. I'm not sure how it works then. Or you go to levels like the suburbs where it's a bright sky, but you can also be transported somewhere where it's dark. There's a lot of connections in the backrooms, but on the Iceberg, it was talking about a connection between the backrooms and Minecraft. This one's kind of dumb, I'm sorry. It's just talking about how there's custom maps, so it's just really customizable, just like the backrooms. Servers making it so multiple people can be on it at once, mods, yeah, I don't understand. But it's just saying that like basically the backrooms can be implemented into Minecraft and Minecraft can be implemented into the backrooms because of its creative landscape, you know what I mean? While I think Minecraft backrooms content can be cool, I don't think that's like actually good to have on, especially Tier 4. So that's my only critique so far. So far, this is a really good Iceberg to follow. Next, we'll be talking about level 141 of the backrooms. This level is known as the hotel. Doors play a crucial role because they can lead you to different rooms within the level, and they can lead you to different levels entirely. Oh wait, that's what it says. Or sometimes nowhere at all, which is interesting. Adding on to that fact that the backrooms is never ending and constantly changing. The doors are described to be old-fashioned, like in an old hotel. It's completed with room numbers and even peepholes. Leaving the backrooms and time travel is our next thing. There's a lot of speculation between the relation between the backrooms and time. Like I said before, the backrooms time is very skewed and confusing, giving a theory that time may not be congruent in this world. A short period of time in the backrooms could equate to being in the real world for multiple years when you only feel like you're there for 10 minutes, or vice versa. In this, it says there's a chance that in different levels of the backrooms, you can experience time differently, maybe slower, you can age slower or faster, which is an interesting take on it. Adding more to like the edge of wanting to leave the backrooms and not be stuck in one level at once, expanding on the exploration. Complex levels in the backrooms. The backrooms is known for having multiple complex levels. We've talked about some already, like the hotel, which we just talked about, where you can enter rooms that lead to different levels entirely. Funny for this first one I have is level 32, known as the Time Traveler's Terminal, which represents an airport in the mid-20th century, featuring analog clocks that represent different times. We also have level 48, Sunset Beach, which is described as a tropical paradise, which is weird considering it's called the Backrooms, not back environments, so it's weird to have like an actual like something that looks like the real world there, because in the real world you can look out at the sea and it can be expansive and you're used to that, but in these other locations like level 0 or like the suburbs, it can be expansive but it's not normally expansive. So being in here, it might feel like too real, like a fake ending room. Next, we're going to be talking about Cluster 2. Cluster 2 is a cluster of levels categorized together. It's an organizational tool that helps categorize places in the backrooms. It doesn't really have physical significance in the backrooms itself. It can help creators with making lore and creating things around it. The levels within Cluster 2 aren't all very similar. They can all differ in size, danger level, inhabitability, and physical laws that aren't within our own. Some notable levels are level 1001, which is split into different sections with multiple different entities, and levels 1000 through 1050, which I don't have something on every single one of those, so you can look those up yourself if you're interested. In level 7.3 through level 7.8, I'm going to only talk about level 7.3 and level 7.8, not the in-between ones, because I couldn't find everything on all of them and I don't want to leave some out, so I just did the first one and the last one. Level 7.3 is told to be like a water-filled cave with stalactites, can't say that word, in a cave-like structure. It combines elements of level 7 and level 8. It's known to be relatively safe, level class 0. Entry methods are mining through rocks at level 7, falling into holes in level 8, diving into deep areas in level 27, and exploring flooded regions in level 75. Now we're going to talk about level 7.8. Level 8 is described as a soft sand island beach with tropical vegetation. The only way to access this is, it doesn't give me a way to enter it, but a way to get out to level 7.9 is a trapdoor leading there. It seems peaceful, and you should be advised that it is dangerous here still. It's often described as being inverted or broken. Not explicitly said that there's any entities, but just this could mess you up. Next, we'll be talking about level 1.5. This is a sub-level. This is a sub-level known for it looking like it's inverted or broken. It challenges the perception of reality to those who enter it. It is known to have inverted lighting compared to level 0s. Where fluorescent light would be is replaced with darkness, and where darkness would be is replaced with light. It's weird and confusing, but I kind of like the concept. The only sound in this level are whispers, which I think is interesting. That's one of the few things that it kept from other levels. Next on our list is the location of the backrooms. The backrooms, there's no location. It's been described from many as a different universe entirely, a different reality that's not ours. So you can't really just put a mark on your Google map and go find it. It would kind of defeat the purpose of no clipping there if you could just walk there or bike there. We're going to be talking about 2 level W's. I didn't know there's a level W, so I'm interested in this. There's level Wonderland and level Wretched. Choose which one you want to go to. Level Wonderland, it's inspired by Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. It features like all the things there, like all of the fun stuff. I don't know. And level Wretched is like an opposite of that, a dark, twisted realm where you probably get preyed upon. Next, we'll be talking about level 8. I'm going to try to speedrun the rest of these so we can get to tier 5. Level 8 is known as the real level 0. Level 8, known as a cavern, is said to be the actual true starting point of the backrooms. This is not widely accepted though in the community and literally contradicts everything we've heard about it. Especially, it doesn't even make sense because the first post of it was showing like the yellow rooms or the level 0. Deleted backrooms levels. If I sound more excited, it's because I took like an hour-long break. I'm back now and I feel better. The mythos of the backrooms is constantly evolving, so that would make sense that there's added levels and deleted levels from creators in online forums and things like that. But why not play that into the actual Backrooms lore like what this is saying? I feel like it makes sense to say like certain levels actually are being deleted or added physically into the Backrooms. I feel like that's a cool concept or a cool thought to have on it. Next, we're going to talk about something we've talked about a little bit on here already. Backrooms is purgatory. A lot of people theorize with the parallels between the Backrooms and purgatory that it would make sense that they're intertwined or maybe one and the same. It is a middle road. It is transitional, like what Alpha Oxtrat said, between our reality and the death. This could be somewhere where you can make it to the actual afterlife or souls just wander endlessly, making it not exactly purgatory, but they parallel and they're very similar in that way. Next, we'll be talking about the middle rooms. People describe this as the pre-Backrooms. It is a transitional area between real life and the Backrooms, which adds on a little bit more to the story. A perfect example of this I can think of is the Escape the Backrooms game. You have to do this puzzle to enter the Backrooms. Like there's this little puzzle. It kind of looks like level 0, but there's more to it than what you normally see. But that would make sense as a perfect entrance because you're like loading in. It's like playing on that video game aspect. You're getting used to this new environment. You're finding the things that you need. You get like almond water, a flashlight. You get like a layout of the entities you'll be running into. Next is the evolution of the Backrooms. The Backrooms originated, like I said, just from that photo of what is now level 0 originating in 2019 on 4chan. The creepypasta originated describing an endless maze of offices with the yellow wallpaper, damp floors, buzzing fluorescent lights. From just this simple thing, it has grown exponentially to something crazy. There's been a bunch of add-ons with levels, entities, which weren't originally a part of it, a bunch of lore expansion like backstories, info on like different groups, and a lot of media adaptations like what I've seen with like Kane Pixels. The UNCB, Unidentified Network of Computing Beings. It is a concept within the Backrooms lore. It's not universally accepted, but it's still cool to talk about because it's on the iceberg and I want to talk about everything that I can that I think belongs on here. They are a network of oh my god, I get talking's hard, guys. It's hard. Since we're here, you know, since you made it this far, how you doing? How's your day? How's your mom? Good, I'm glad. I wasn't gonna say anything weird about her. A network of artificial intelligences or digital entities that exist within the Backrooms, potentially responsible for some of the things that wanderers run into in the Backrooms. They're portrayed as having control over certain environments of it, so they're more of an environmental entity that affects what's around you or what you see around you. DEQYMP3. I tried to look this up, but I really couldn't find anything on it. It appears in some stories, like some concepts of it, but it's not like a universal big one. Since it's an MP3, it's an audio file. I assume it's something similar to like SCPs, how they're different. It's probably, maybe it's an audio file entity. I feel like that would make sense and that'd be a cool concept that they could do because I know a lot of them are just monsters. So having more like, not just like a monster chasing you that looks like a rabid dog, I think it's cool. Another theory is the Backrooms change from person to person. This would make sense playing on different people's fears and like, that's also a good way to interpret the different storylines. Like this is how they experienced it because they're this kind of person. This is what they like it would make sense. A way that this may be incorporated is like what level you start on, what entities you see on the levels that you start on, or any level really. It also makes for really good narrative flexibility, making it easier for you to craft a cool story since it's such an open concept and you can do so much with it. You can make it really explorative or you can add as many entities and monsters as you want. This brings me to something else that's pretty cool, are friendly entities are illusions. It's a pretty dark thought that there's nothing good in here and that anything friendly isn't real. This helps add a layer of paranoia and fear within anybody. I just punched you again. But then again, like most things, this is one perspective and there's plenty of games where you can't let that get in your head because there might be actual friendly entities. This interesting topic leads me to the next thing. .exe. Again, I couldn't really find anything on this sadly. It's a very obscure thing in the Backrooms world, but most times .exes can be used for a lot of malicious intent, like with hacking, that sort of thing. You can use it for Trojans and try to get into people's computers. Maybe this could be talking about another kind of entity with files. Maybe it could be some kind of mind virus. I think that would be a cool concept for this. Actually, you know what? Since the Backrooms is so expanding, I'm making it. The .exe, that's a mind virus and it's a cool concept that I created. Don't sue me. Another thing that people say is the Backrooms is a fourth dimension. A lot of people say the Backrooms occupies a space beyond our perceivable third dimension, which would make sense because it's not what we know. There's a lot of levels explained as breaking, inverted, incorrect, just wrong, which would make sense to be just not possible compared to ours. The next list of info I have on here, this higher dimensional nature explains the seemingly infinite and non-Euclidean geometry of the Backrooms. I don't know exactly what that all means, but it sounds about like what I just said. It may account for the ability of us to just no-clip. The empty space theory. This theory insists that the Backrooms exist in the empty space between our realities, physical structures. These spaces are normally not for us to see or inaccessible for us. The no clipping allows us to reach these parts. We slip into these spaces. This feeds into the liminal space aspect of the uncanny valley. These places are a part of where we are, but they're just in these slips of reality that are just mangled and incorrect, so it makes sense to play on that fact. I do a lot of hand... Why am I... The disappearance of Backrooms explorer groups. We've already touched on exploring groups like the Meg, but have you heard about the disappearance of them? The major exploring group, also known as the Meg, is the largest known faction in the Backrooms, focused on exploration and finding an escape path. Or the BNTG, the Backrooms Non-Aligned Trade Group. It's another significant organization, but it's a lot more secretive and hidden, so a lot of members that have been said to join it disappear, leaving a lot of people with questions and confusion. But I'm not going to do that, because now we're going to move on to Tier 5. I'm going to try to speedrun this, but also give you all the information that you need, because I have to get to work in 20 minutes. We'll be talking about things like, you stay in the Backrooms until you're reborn, we've all been in the Backrooms, and entities were created by scientists. For the first one, you stay in the Backrooms until rebirth. A lot of people talk about how the Backrooms is stale time, or time isn't real, it's ever changing and it doesn't really matter there. That would make sense that this is just a holding place for you until you are reborn. Nothing changes, you just keep all your memories and you continue to learn. The entities are created by scientists. A lot of the videos give big like Stranger Things vibes, like going in, having like a portal entrance or like offices in there. It gives like upside down vibes. So I could see that very well being a thing, because I know, I can't remember exactly from the show, but I know they had some involvement, big involvement with like all the monsters and things like that affecting the town. Like in Kane Pixels' series, where you have like this wire mesh monster made out of something that looks human made, further aligning with the idea that there was human interference in the storyline, or in his storyline at least. I think it's cool to think about that we had an impact on this, even though it was a negative one. The Bermuda Triangle is known for all of its crazy things. Who disappeared there? Who's the flying girl? Helen Keller? I'm kidding. And Amelia Earhart went missing there. There's a bunch of crazy things that go on there, and people have a bunch of myths surrounding it. So it makes sense that them just randomly disappearing could play into the no-clip theory, allowing them to slip in there without leaving any trace. A lot of people have speculated that slipping through the no-clip ocean could lead you to level 7, which is known for its vast infinite sea, the storage capacity of the end computer. The concept of the end computer refers to one central processing unit or system that manages various levels and entities. It is inferred that it's containing very priceless and a lot of information, but we don't have an exact amount of storage that it holds. We know that the Backrooms isn't exactly our universe from everything we've heard. It might be in slips and cracks of it, but it's just only taking remnants of it, meaning that more than likely, it doesn't have to abide by our rule of just like gigabytes of storage. It's probably like Zorbu length? I don't know. The Shady Gray, or TH340 Gray through I. The Shady Gray is described as a group of sub-levels that are very dangerous. The Meg has tried to discover it, but has only had limited success. Some examples of levels in the Shady Gray are Level 0, or 00. This is the entry point into the Shady Gray. Resembling a jungle with glitched trees, it is the only level where survival is somewhat assured if one exits before nightfall. Then you have Level 3, an infinite ocean filled with floating clocks that may alter time. The water is toxic, composed of distilled water. Did you say still water? Still water! Mixed with hazardous substances. Level 4. Accessible by interacting with an analog clock in Level 3. This level features an infinite river surrounded by glitchy skyscrapers, reminiscent of Level 11, but in darker tone. Nextly, we have connections to Hotel California. Hotel California often resembles entrapment from an inescapable situation. In the context of the Backrooms, it can be interpreted as a metaphor to its endless nature. For example, like what we just talked about, the Shady Gray. You enter, and you can leave if you leave quick, but once you go in too deep, you're just stuck. This applies to the thought that the Backrooms is not a traditional space, and the exits are elusive. Level 7 and 8. I've talked about Level 7 already, and different things say different things. This says it's an industrial layout, and then earlier I talked about it and it said it was a vast ocean, which further plays on the perspective that the Backrooms can be different for everyone. It can change, it can be interchangeable, but right now this seems just like a messy overlap. Level 8. This level is notable for connecting to the Bermuda, like we said earlier. Wait, but that said Level 7. Wait, oh no, I'm getting confused with my lore that I gotta go. This is all info I found online, so if it overlaps and sounds weird, that's why. A lot of people say that 8 serves as a gateway to other dimensions, the Backrooms being one of these dimensions. Missing persons cases involving the Backroom. This is, I mean, obviously they're not real, but we'll go into this, but don't think that people actually went missing for going into the backrooms. This theory was there's an increase in missing persons cases in 1980s and 1990s, but I'm thinking it's actually because people figured out what free will was, and the people that found out about it weren't good people, like Shawn Mendes or whatever Mendes it was. A video online theorizes that after a significant earthquake in California in 1989, portals to the backrooms began opening, which is a fun thought. That'd be like a cool like short film concept, but obviously not real, which led to a spike in disappearances, and that's where they went, was the backrooms and not into fiery fire. This narrative intertwines with real world data, which is cool, and I like that concept actually, suggesting that over 980,000 people were reportedly missing in the US in 1997 alone, which I don't know where they went besides the backrooms. It had to have been the back. We're gonna fly through some of these because some of them are just, I don't know. The backrooms as a debug area. This will also fall into our next one that we're gonna be talking about, the backrooms matrix theory. We'll talk about that next, so you'll hear about it. This supports that the backrooms may have been artificially created by humans, that a lot of the creations are scientist related. This aligns with the matrix theory, where reality is manipulated by unseen forces, making it plausible that the backrooms exist as a parallel to our dimension or a glitch in our own. Bringing me to the backrooms matrix theory, saying that the backroom space functions similarly to a virtual space controlled by programmers. I can confirm this because I went into the backrooms. I'll show you, I'll put a video on the screen. This says that players experience death and they come back, they respawn, which would make sense. That's kind of a cool concept on it because a lot of people in a lot of versions say that you can't die in the backrooms, but a lot of them also say you can die. Playing a backrooms game and body ownership. A lot of people theorize that when you play a backrooms game that you take over the body of someone, aligning with the matrix theory and all the things we've been talking about. This is one of the most backed theories that we've seen, and it's all on tier 5, which makes it even better. I just punched you again and I gotta stop doing that, I'm sorry. Making sense. I mean, like, if it's controlled by a matrix, it's like an outer source playing. It reminds me of like SAO, like government documents being found in the backroom. There's plenty of games where you start off and you're going through filing cabinets. It doesn't say if you're part of the government or not, but cooler to think that you are. It's thinking that these scientists that are in a lot of these videos or interpretations of it are a part of a bigger government cooperation thingy. I feel like a president talking, or like a political figure. Vote for me, Barack Obama. And now we are on to our last one. This is the first video where I've had it all laid out this long, this far, pause. We are gonna be ending this with the exit of the backroom. Finding an exit is the central theme of a lot of these stories that we run into, claiming to have portals or doors that lead back to our reality. The exits are often elusive and not real. For example, level 12, also known as the Matrix level. When a wanderer tries to photograph or take notes of anything, it all becomes censored or deleted. This aspect raises questions if there's info in there telling you if you can leave, or if maybe that is the exit, or whether if there is anything at all, or if this is a never-ending digital labyrinth. So there it is. That is the Backrooms Iceberg. I know that I'm like a year or two late to the whole spiel on it, but I still wanted to cover it, and to be honest, I wanted an excuse to look into it more without feeling like a bum and wasting my time. I plan on making more videos like this very, very soon, so stay tuned for that. Again, thank you guys for watching this far. That means so much to me. But maybe if you checked out the Patreon and became a member, I would appreciate it so much. You don't have to. Staying this long in the video is enough. But again, thank you for sticking with me. So leave a like and subscribe to see when I post more videos like this, because I will. And check out this video on screen, because I know if you like this one, you'll like that one too.